How to write a termination letter. Let's get into it. This is a requested video, and I could have sworn I did this video a couple of years back, but I did not. This video assumes that you watched a prior video I did complete titled How to Terminate an Employee, and I'll put a link to it right here. For starters, I do not write termination letters. Many years ago, I created a 3-part termination system that has worked well for me throughout my management years, and I'm going to share it with you. Instead of a termination letter, I start out with something I called a termination notice. A termination notice explains to the employee the purpose of the document, and it discusses the reason why the employee was terminated. On a separate line, I clearly state you are being terminated for the following reason, and I list the reason there. And I make it as brief as possible. You're being terminated for unsatisfactory conduct. You're being terminated for violating an employment policy. You're being terminated for unauthorized use of company equipment. I keep it as short and sweet as possible. It also explains that unless the termination was the result of some sort of serious violation, that the employee had been warned prior to the termination. The second document I created is called a Termination Certification. This document is for the employee to certify that they do not have any more company property in their possession, that they've submitted everything that the company issued to them, keys, credit cards, computers, on and on and on. It also discusses any type of confidentiality, any type of non-compete or non-disparagement agreement that you signed. It reminds the employee that those are still in effect, even though the employee-employer relationship has terminated. Finally, I also create a termination statement. A termination statement is different for each employee. Please keep in mind that once you start the termination process, everything that you say could be used against you in a litigation situation if the employee decides to sue your company. So I create a termination statement so I can read what I'm going to say to the employee while the actual termination is taking place, and I can keep that information on file. Because I write down word for word what I'm going to say to the employee. Once I finish reading that statement, it's very short and sweet. I get up, the termination is done. I don't take questions from the employee. I don't add anything to the statement that I read. The employee receives a copy of the termination notice. The employee receives a copy of the termination certification, and I let the employee take that, they sign it, and they send it back to me. Well, Nina, what if they don't sign it and send it back to you? Well, there's a witness that should be on hand when you terminate an employee, either a manager or a high-level employee, and that person signs on the behalf of that employee. But honestly, I've never had a problem with a terminated employee signing and returning the documents. Termination statements, emails after the employee has been terminated, any communication post-termination should be kept on file in the employee's personnel folder. This termination system works for me, and it could be adapted to your company. If you'd like more information on my termination system, I'm going to put a link in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. If you want to know more about business operations, business management, human resources, and other topics related to running a business, click on one of those play links. Click on one of these click on the playlist.
One eternity later.
Click on one of these playlists. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe.